Can we have a roll call of members?
Dr. Malloy,
Here.
Mr. Mignon,
Here.
Mr. Hoff, Mr. Greenwood, Mrs. Irwin Adams, Mr. Johnston, Mr. Francis, Mrs. McGinnis, Mr. Cook.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to announce that prior to this meeting, we had an executive session to discuss personnel issues. Okay. At this time, we'll have hearing from citizens. Citizens wishing to address the board, please come to the microphone, state your name and whether or not you live in the school district. We do have a board policy regarding hearing from citizens. So rather than read that, I'll let you know if things need to be followed, okay? So anybody wish to address the board, please come to the podium.
I'm Kennedy Banker, and I'm a 6th grade student at the Altoona Junior High School. The events of March 29th sent a shockwave of concern throughout our community. Students, parents, teachers, and staff were affected by this hoax. Hoax or not, I was scared, as many of you were. We had no way of communicating to our parents and truly felt we may never talk to them again. Let's not forget the same week there was a school shooting in Nashville. I think we can learn from these situations. So, in order to keep people calm and comfortable, I propose that cell phones be allowed in school with restrictions. There are many useful purposes for phones, such as communication, emergencies, technology proficiency, and responsible digital citizenship. Some people think that phones will be a distraction, but teachers in schools can have rules like placing a phone in a bin or area when entering the classroom and picking it up when you leave. There's also a difference in how the policy is handled at the high school and junior high. Many high school students carry their phones with minimal issues, and some teachers even let them use them. During lockdown, many high school students were able to communicate with their parents because they had their phones. In junior high, most students do not carry their phones because the policy is strictly enforced. Being in 6th grade and the youngest in secondary school in the district, this situation caused me and my family so much anxiety. My mom would also like to express her concerns.
Good evening. I'm Laura Bankert, obviously her mom. So I want to say first, I was really impressed with the security, the staff, and the teachers, everything that day. I think everything was handled absolutely as perfectly as it could have been. I work over in State College. It took me about 40 minutes from the time I heard of what was going on to get to the junior high. By the time I got there, that was right about when they announced that we could pick our kids up. I was one of about 50 parents standing in line at that time, and it took an hour and a half to get her dismissed. Had no form of communication with her. Totally understand that's a rule. She's a rule follower, which I'm proud of. But it really would have helped my anxiety, her anxiety, and I'm sure a lot of other parents' anxiety as well, just to have been able to reach out and text her. You know, I have a mom text chain that all the moms were saying how they were talking to their high school students, and yet I couldn't. So it would have really helped, and I probably wouldn't have felt the need to pick her up. Had I been able to reach out to her and say, hey, you okay? Can you stay in school? Is your mental space okay? I probably would not have felt the need to pick her up, and it wouldn't have been this big bombardment of 3 hours plus of dismissing students through all that chaos. So I also support her in asking for the cell phones to be allowed at the junior high. I think she has one more thing to say.
My fellow students and I would like to see a change in the policy, not to use them in class, but mainly for emergency use. I'm positive that many parents in the district would donate or buy phone bins to utilize in every classroom at the junior high and high school. If more students were able to have phones on them during the lockdown, administration may not have had as many issues with student dismissals afterwards. Like my mom, many other parents would not have bombarded the school after the lockdown if we were allowed to talk to our parents. The simple solution is to allow the students to have their phones with restrictions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. You did an excellent job. Okay, anyone else wishing to address us?
It's been a while. Excuse me. I need these nowadays. So there aren't many things that would drag me in here, but a couple are, and one was that lockdown. And I have to give a lot of praise for how it was handled. I felt like people were safe, and the way people performed was pretty solid. And a lot of people come up here and they don't realize what it's like to sit in those chairs, and you can't, like, even staff don't know what it's like to sit in those chairs. And you guys have to handle those types of emergencies on a regular basis, but they don't always become public. So it's important to understand that there's always rules that you guys have to follow, legal situations you got to adhere to, and so forth. But I also wanted to comment about the cell phones as well. It's hard to follow up on that, but I will attempt it. The kids are using cell phones anyhow. As a matter of fact, whether or not you know this, there was an entire classroom that took a Saturday because somebody's alert went off and nobody wanted to narc on their fellow classmates. They all got searched. They all had cell phones. They all took a Saturday. And realistically, parents didn't care and the kids didn't care because the cell phones helped them feel more secure. You can't run from technology. You just can't. It's like, scientific calculators all over again. Distractions, cheating. You don't need to have them. But the irony with the argument that you don't need to have them is that you just upgraded the arsenal of the police force. It's kind of contradictory, and you have to acknowledge that. So I looked at the policy, because that's what you do. The policy's fine. The policy says you can use technology. He's checking the time. Anyhow, you can use devices whenever we tell you you can use the devices. And where the real issue is in the student handbook. It's number 3 in audio-visual devices. It needs scrapped. And basically you could replace it with what you have for the teachers as well, and say, okay, you can use cell phones between classes, you can use them at lunch, and you can use them in emergency situations. You carry them on you. Teachers already know that kids already have them on. And why does this matter? If a kid falls somewhere in here and they're not within earshot of somebody and they hurt themselves, they might lay there for a half an hour before somebody finds them. Likewise, there was apparently a kid in the bathroom during the lockdown. This gives them an out to say, okay, is it safe to come out, or should I continue hiding in here? And then finally, family preparing their kids for being picked up after somebody dies. You don't just want a runner coming up. If they could text their kid and say, hey, be ready, I'm going to pick you up, there's a family problem. And the last thing is superintendent's retiring. Congratulations. People comment that they don't know what he does, but here's 3 things he does, 4 things he does. I think I had something to the list. He's the one that makes calls at 11 and 12 at night to say, hey, there's an emergency. And he's the one that has to round up the troops for that. He's the one that, with his staff, rewrote the pre-K to 12 curriculum from the ground up. I walked into the office at one point in time. There was a stack taller than me, about 5 feet wide and about 3 feet deep, of books that he was personally going over. And then last, we had somebody in here that said, we'll be broke in 5 years. Well, I checked that too, because you have your audit online. There's $25 million in the bank. There's $8 million invested. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not broke. He, under his leadership with his staff, they figured out a way to make it happen. And whenever he was hired, the whole idea was we did not want a company man. We didn't want somebody who would just say yes to everything we said, because we weren't the experts. We wanted experts who could present information to us and push things forward. And so he presented his data and gave us what we needed. So regardless of what anyone says, thank you for protecting our kids. Thank you for educating our kids. Thank you for looking after the district, and go play your trumpet.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, Janae Forbes, running for school board. Angry mother, concerned tax-paying resident, nursing student, self-love and body positivity advocate, and CEO of a nonprofit. I'm not liked for staying quiet. I'm liked for standing up and roaring. Last month, I tried to ask some questions about incurrence at an event at the junior high and was told my question couldn't be answered, but I was more than welcome to call and discuss it. I don't understand why my question couldn't be answered right here and then when other people's questions have been answered. I believe it's because I probably made y'all feel uncomfortable for the 5 minutes I was allotted to speak, and you didn't want to be transparent on a live and public platform. That's just my opinion though. So take the discomfort you felt for the 5 minutes and imagine feeling that way every time you walk the halls in any school in this district because you are constantly bullied and you're not comfortable with the predators, both staff and students walking these halls. We need to do better. You're looking at kids that will be future nurses and doctors and may need to save your life someday. You're looking at future engineers that will invent and build something that will better this country. You're looking at future pilots that will fly you to your next destination. You're looking at future educators that will be teaching your family members someday. Kids are the future. Come on, you have kids walking almost 2 miles to school. Honestly, in the world today with school students, predators, sex trafficking, would you let your kids walk that far? And the school policy, someone told me that, I could be wrong, that a child has to be picked up from school when they are sick or having a doctor's appointment, when the parent verbally gives that child and the school permission to let them walk. So that sounds a little confusing to me when they are allowed to walk to school 2 miles. But anyways, if we would go around the room right now and ask each one of you, what are you doing to help our kids or why you're sitting on the board? I bet you would all have pretty much the same generic answer: to protect our kids and better their education. But let's be real, are we really doing that? The school board is supposed to be the heart and foundation of all schools part of this district. I'm here to advocate, be transparent, communicate, and serve the community part of this district while keeping our kids safe, educating myself to better the education of our children, promoting positivity, diversity, and most importantly, mental health. If you don't have any ideas to keep our kids safe, then you need to get off the board and let people on this board that will. Janae Forbes for the board.
Anybody else wish to address us? Okay, here, Kelly.
Kelly Bowers, the parent district, 210 4th Avenue. There's been a lot of really crazy stuff going on in our district with rape culture and things. And I want to say the fact that the district is actually stepping up to the plate and changing policy as of tonight, even, I think, with the teenage dating violence policy. Is that correct? The board is listening. Okay. Sometimes we not get words out correctly. I learned a lot recently because obviously I have words that not come out correctly a lot. So I sit and listen and chew on what people say a lot. And I'm not shit. Sorry. I'm getting frustrated. This district is really trying. There's a lot coming at them from every which way. And all we see is this piece on social media, that piece on social media, this person say this person say that, the telephone game, and it's everyone miscommunication. And then it's like you try and talk common sense to people. They don't want to listen. People say about transparency. I was even saying about transparency, and I was getting a heck of a lot of transparency more than other people. And because it's not about how you say it, it's not about, you can talk like this, or you can talk like this. Where's someone going to actually listen if you're talking like this? If you're on a keyboard and all you got to do is complain and yell and scream at people and tell them that they're garbage and all this and that, like, where are people going to listen? Like, we part of the problem just as much as this damn board.
Okay. All right. Anybody else wish to address us? Okay. we'll
Yeah,
move
hey
on.
Frank, real quick, I told Dutch I'd take care of the cell phone incident, and you know, in all honesty, Dutch, there's things came up last week, and I feel bad. Honey, he did a great job, by the way, but it's my fault, and I apologize for not bringing that up.
Okay. I'll just say this, I was working during 911, and that was a very chaotic time. And the cell phones were not usable because you couldn't use them. I guess all the lines were clogged up, and they were basically useless during that emergency. So, but there is a need to communicate, and I'm sure we'll be looking at all aspects of what we need to do better. Okay. All right. Not a very good voice tonight. Next on the agenda is a resolution of the Board of Directors. And this is a resolution for first responder appreciation. Okay. Whereas the dedicated members of the Blair County Emergency Services Department serve and protect our citizens and ensure the health and safety of the Altoona Area School District every day. Whereas our first responders endure long shifts and demonstrate the utmost professionalism and integrity when operating under extreme pressure and often dangerous and unpredictable circumstances. And whereas these brave men and women dedicate themselves and risk their lives so that we can live in peace and security, and so that the community and the Altoona Area School District is a safe and desirable place to live, work, study, and visit. Whereas the first responders play an integral role in our community, and its members deserve the deepest respect and gratitude for their service. And whereas the Altoona Area School District Board of Directors supports the Altoona Area School District Police Services and Blair County Emergency Services Departments and all of its members who stand each day as guardians of peace and safety, ready to protect the community, our schools, and who remain steadfast in upholding the core values of fairness, impartiality, integrity, respect, and the diligent pursuit of justice. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Altoona Area School District Board of Directors that the Altoona Area School District Board of Directors has the utmost respect and admiration for the emergency services departments and recognizes their roles as first responders and the enormous impact they have on patient survival, emergency responder safety, and the overall successful outcome of all types of emergency incidents. The Altoona Area School District appreciates the impact of the emergency response profession on the mental and physical health of our students and personnel. I present to you this resolution to the board for adoption. So do we have a motion for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye, opposed, so moved. Okay, now we have the minutes of the March 20th regular school board meetings. Minutes. Do we have a motion for approval? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye, opposed? So moved. Under finance, we have A, the list of payments, B, the financial reports, C, donation, the estate of Peggy Peterman donating. We have D, the donation of the estate of Marjorie Vaughn. E, a drama honorarium contracted services. F, the PNG field event agreement. G, the preferred healthcare system agreement renewal. H, preferred benefit specialist administrative support agreement. I, the dental agreement renewal. J, the health care premium rates 23 for 23-24 school year. K, the stop loss renewal. L, the Care Guide Advocates Agreement, formerly Prater. M, Conrad Siegel Affordable Care Act Agreement. N, District Paid Life Insurance, Accidental Death, Short-Term Disability. With quite a few items. Do we have a motion for the approval of those? Is there a second? Discussion.
You know, I'd like to say on B, that was very generous of this person to donate that to the school.
Item F, the P&G field event agreement. Shouldn't that cost be put to the contractors for not having that field playable rather than us pay for it?
I question that too.
I agree 100%.
Do you want to vote on that separate?
I'm just, it doesn't matter. The problem is, we should pay it anyway. We should thank the Curve for giving us a pretty good deal on the field, but I agree. It shouldn't be our responsibility. We didn't cause the problem. And he's right, you know, wasn't our fault. Why should we pay?
Any response?
We can't control the weather. I'm going to say this, that Mike Ventry and his company has gone above and beyond to get that field ready. The biggest driver here is the weather. We can say that they could have seeded sooner. And the reality is still going to come down to maybe it was going to be better, or maybe it isn't, because it was a choice between the risk of it burning out in August or waiting till the end of September. And the issue comes down to, we waited till the end of September, and then we had a spring that was, well, I cut my grass for the first time last week. You know, it's cold, it's this, and the reality is, I mean, they just went out and they just did another injection power seeding of it. Only because they felt that that was the right way to support it. I mean, I believe the grass will come in at the same time. You know, they're going above and beyond and eating that cost just because they want to do right by the district, and they want to remove any risk that it's not going to come in right. So,
I mean, we still have to pay the Curve. That's a separate, that could be another issue for another day, but I think the motion has to remain to pay, we should pay the Curve. And then we could discuss this. Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of these items, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, under policy A, we have 5 policies for the first reading. B, we have a policy for the second reading. So do we have a motion on those items? Is there a second? And we have discussion. Okay, those in favor respond by saying, or Ron, did you? Okay, those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Okay, education. A, we have the 23-24 Learning Express and Pre-K Counts calendar approval. B, we have a memorandum of understanding with Child Advocates of Blair County regarding pre-K counts. C, we have a memorandum of understanding with Begin With Us Child Care and Preschool. D, a memorandum of understanding with Kids First Pre-K Counts. E, a new scholarship account. F, a donation for student assistance program for 23-24. G, elementary field trips. H, volunteer approval. I, expulsion request waiver of hearing and agreement. J, an expulsion request. K, the special education plan. Do we have a motion on those items? Is there a second? Okay, discussion.
For letter K, it says that the special education plan is attached, but all I see is a memo. So I'm not sure if
I sent the plan out to the board with the Friday update.
Okay.
I believe that was the plan you sent to me, right? And I sent it out with the board. The problem was when you pull it off the website, it gives you bits and pieces and it becomes undiscernible. So Michelle actually, either she did it or her crew put it together to make sure you had an actual document. I sent that out Friday.
Okay. I'm gonna have to abstain on that because I haven't read it, so I apologize.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of those items, please respond by saying aye. Aye, opposed?
I'll abstain on K.
Kelly's abstention. Okay, personnel, we have A, personnel agenda items. B, the AAEA memorandum of understanding. Do we have a motion on those two items? Is there a second? Discussion. Okay, those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Okay, business operations. A, we have the tax assessment appeals. A is for the silk mill. B is tax assessment appeals for Gretka. C, the summer food service program. D, the acceptance of a donation from the Giant Company. E, the community eligibility program. F, the food service management contract extension. G, child care contract. H, the acoustical ceiling system bid. I, the capital project list of payments. J, the purchase of a district vehicle. K, the capital reserve list of payments. L, a repository bid approval. M, repository bid rejection. N, the swim timing equipment. O, library fines. P, the transportation contract. Do we have a motion for those items? Is there a second? Discussion.
Can you give,
On H for the auditorium, this is leftover money on the building project. correct?
This is a remainder of this is part of the remainder of the funds from the building project that has to be used towards project related items. And we had tabled the idea of adding this because we weren't sure how the project was going to come in. Now the project's coming under budget. This and also the sound system for the gymnasium, which I didn't see on here. Where is the sound system for the gymnasium? Got it. Okay. All right, because so that's all coming out of those funds because that's what it needs to be used for. And again, this is going to be the betterment program for children, the sound system, the gymnasium, the reflection of the creation of an acoustic shell for the band, orchestra, chorus when they perform on stage. It's going to make a big impact. And the other thing is it's a system that, like when we do a stage production, the board has already approved all of the setup to handle it. It will be up in the rafters and won't be an issue. But when it's needed, they'll be able to lower it, put it in place and run it.
That's good. Thank you.
can you speak on the behalf of why it wasn't included on the building project to begin with?
It was what it came down to was just keeping control of the costs. And it wasn't part of the project. So we did the prep work for it with the idea that maybe someone could donate it or someone could fundraise it in the future. At this point, having the funds left over in the project, we could rebid it and we could add it in. Understand that this price, the 139, is approximately $15,000 below what our price would have been if we had done it in the project itself. So it ended up being advantageous to the district and the board.
A lot of other things like this that are lingering, I guess.
The only other major item, which is beyond the scope of the monies we had left, would be the refurbing of chemistry rooms. The furniture, the cabinetry in those rooms, in the A building. That was the only other thing that was not done in the project. But that could be upwards of $1 million to $2 million to do that. Because you're talking 11 classrooms full of full cabinetry.
Can you speak on behalf of the purchase of the district vehicle? Like how many have we purchased this year and where are we at with the vehicles, I guess?
Go ahead, Susan.
Earlier this year, you approved the purchase of one, this would be the purchase of the second. I have a vehicle with 5 vehicles, so this would replace the 2009 Toyota Siennas that were used currently. So we have access to 120,000 miles on it. But just finally made up my provider that we hold vehicles.
And we're basically, we have the budget for it, but we're basically striking while we have the ability of a vehicle. If the board remembers, we bought a truck with a box truck for food service. It took us over a year to get it inside, actually get it onto the ground, because they're very hard to find, and the supply is a big issue. So because we had an option, we wanted to bring it to the board. And
How many others need replaced?
This would be we have a couple other vehicles. We're going to repurpose the vans we have. One could go to 75 now from, and we're going to use another one. So we're going to hopefully take a look at CTC, let them kind of talk a little bit for us and repurpose. Right now, we probably have another 4 vans. The other one is on the agenda. Start the recycling.
Any other discussion?
On item H again, can't that $139,000 be spent better improving security here? Or, I mean, that's like Ron always says, it's a want or a need. That's a want, that's really not a need, and security is more of a need. And even upgrading those chemistry rooms is more of a need than this acoustical ceiling panels. Just my opinion, I'm gonna vote no on that.
from security, we already have tier 2 or tier 3 glass that's specifically safety designed for the secure vestibules, et cetera. And I don't want to get into the security end of it, but when you're talking, you know, we have personnel and we have a lot of structures in place. This is something that's going to make an impact, and it's also going to finish off that facility, which is the reason I'm recommending it. I understand if you feel that could be spent better elsewhere, but I feel that's going to make the biggest impact.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of those items respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'm a no on item 9A and 9H.
Okay,
I am a no on 9H also.
okay. All right, 12 for information only.
No,
The-
facility 10.
Wait a minute. Committee report, way ahead of myself. Okay. I got that. Way ahead of myself. I was in California last week. I'm still in the time zone change. Okay, under facility and maintenance, item 10. We have the Adams roof to take care of. We have B, the Washington and Jefferson roof. C, the Fieldhouse sound system. D, the Weber Murphy Fox contract. Do we have a motion for those items? Is there a second? Okay, discussion.
You know, I must say, Adam's roof really needs a roof. It's shingles blown off every time there's a big windstorm, some more blown off. Is the owl staying when they put the new roof on, or?
Okay, any further discussion?
Did you mention the Fieldhouse sound system?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, those in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved. Committee chair reports. Any committee chair reports?
Oh, we just had a policy meeting the other week, and these are advertised and the public is welcome to attend.
Can we talk about the cell phone use at the next one, Ron?
Okay.
I just wanted to bring up at the facilities meeting, I think we had a good discussion about some increased safety at the elementary level for the elementary schools. And I think Brad just confirmed that there's something actually in the works for one of the things that we discussed on Friday. So I just wanted to just make everybody aware that that is something that we're definitely looking into. And they've already started moving forward on some items there that actually looking into this week. So thank you for following through on that.
Okay. Board President's report. Spent last week in California, and my son lives in a island called Alameda, and it's a place between San Francisco and Oakland. And our 7-year-old grandchild goes to a school there called the Amelia Earhart Elementary School. And we were talking to him about what he does in school. And one of the things he doesn't do is have an art or music teacher in elementary school. And I think we in Altoona, who would be considered extremely poor compared to that district, can be quite proud that we do have music and art for our students. And I think, you know, being an older person, I just would hope that that continues forever, because I think it's so important for kids. Okay, superintendent's report.
I would like to just personally commend the Altoona Police Department, the Altoona Fire Department, Logan Township Police, the Blair County Sheriff's Office, the administration, Bill Pfeffer and his crew, Brad Hatch, Shell, everyone who was actively involved in that situation. I want to commend Brad. I mean, I'm over in this stairwell and I'm watching the police cordon and they needed somebody with keys. He stepped right up and he walked right into that, not having any idea what he was dealing with. And I know what that call is like because I've had to do it myself. And what matters when you get in a situation like that is when people step up. And the Altoona police, the guys who were in training, who came flying down the hill, the sheriff's department, Logan Township, everyone involved with that showed that they were willing to put themselves in front of and to protect our children, our faculty, our staff, and they are to be commended because you never know. And we didn't know until 45 minutes into it that it was a hoax. Literally, that my heart was pounding in my chest as I headed through this building because that was a very, very telling moment of the integrity of the people who come and support us and serve our schools. And I just want to say thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ventry.
Good evening. I would like to take a moment to mention some current and upcoming events here in the Altoona Area School District. Last Tuesday, April 11th, the school district recognized first responders who responded to the March 29th active shooter hoax before the Mountain Lions baseball game against Chambersburg. I would also like to congratulate the baseball team on winning the 2023 Curve Classic in Mountain Lion. I am so sorry. On winning the 2023 Curve Classic against and Connor Blau being named the Curve Classic MVP this past weekend. Also this past weekend, the high school drama club put on 42nd Street. Everyone involved did a fantastic job. This Wednesday, April 19th, 80 sophomores will attend the Rotary Career Fair at the Blair County Convention Center. Coming up later this month in the music department is the AAHS Jazz Band Concert, which will be held at 7 p.m. tomorrow, and the AAJHS 7th and 8th grade chorus concert, which will be held Friday, April 28th at 7 p.m. Also coming up in the following weeks is PSSA testing for 3rd through 8th graders. I would like to thank all students and everyone in the district for their ongoing efforts in this final stretch of the school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 12 for information only. The policy 249 on bullying and cyberbullying is required to be reviewed every 3 years. So the policy committee has reviewed this policy on April 11, 2023, and there are no recommendations for revisions. B, the new teacher induction program completion, and I see that we have a high school chemistry teacher, Marissa Brandt, completed the program. Yes. C, the education committee summary, and that is for information only. See, it's an attached report to your agendas. And D, the facilities committee meeting summary. Okay. Other comments, employee unions response, middle management, solicitor. No report tonight. Okay. Any other business to bring before us?
Just real quick, Miss Ventry hit on it, but those who saw 42nd Street were treated to a really, really excellent performance. And all the years I've been on this board, that's probably one of the better performances I've seen. The kids did a wonderful job. Our director did a wonderful job. So congratulations. Those who missed it, too bad.
I agree. It's unbelievable how they can get all those kids to tap dance. And I know they did it in the last performance, but like they started to set the stage for it, but it was phenomenal.
I'm sorry, but can someone say something about the girls softball team, because they like really did good. They did good, like past few years, hadn't won a game and they just won again. Recently, can you recognize that for them, please? Because that's amazing, sorry.
Okay.
Sure. Our girls softball team did get their first victory in a number of years. They defeated Bellwood Annis the other day, and the program is definitely looking up. A lot of enthusiasm if you've not been down to Logan to see a game. The girls and the coaches have a lot of fight and a lot of spunk, and they are fun to watch. And the program's definitely moving in the right direction. And I would like to echo the comments about 42nd Street. Amazing. I mean, and most of those kids, hardly any of them were trained dancers. They were all trained from scratch. If you were able to see it, it was phenomenal. It really was. I was unbelievably impressed. And our Bryce Coster, one of our technology folks, was one of our creative minds as well. So he's a man of many talents. He just doesn't always show it.
And one of the lead roles, I think, had just a month to,
Yes.
they were switched and they had just a month to learn one of the lead roles. So that was really commendable.
Okay. All right. Could we have a motion for adjournment? Second? Ron, those